Alexander Isak finally gone public and made it clear he wants out of Newcastle, with talks of broken promises and ruined relationships that can't continue. Kevin Phillips, Charlie Austin and the Newcastle fans have all had their say on Sky Sports News today.
Seeing the way that he's behaved this summer, it just smacks of desperation. And Newcastle fans are furious about this. They absolutely are, because he has completely let the fans down. He's completely let the players down. And just as importantly, he's let the manager down. And just to talk about that statement really quickly, the one thing that you hadn't mentioned at all in that statement was the fans.
I want him gone.
I believe he's gone about it the wrong way, because his legacy at Newcastle now is gone. So, you know, he has to live with that now. And if the transfer doesn't go through, then unfortunately he's going to have to go back in amongst the fold and try and turn those fans back round. And it'll be extremely difficult because they're very passionate.
Just don't see how he gets reintegrated into our squad.
High up in football, high up, it's any workplace, right? Gentleman's agreement, OK, well, let's get it in writing, because you know how everything works. It can just be turned on its head, and that's not the case, and nothing goes through. And now we're in that situation where they're almost having a standoff, and it'll be interesting to see who wins.
If we let Isak win this or Visser win this, it can turn sour with other clubs very, very quickly, and we don't want that in football.
Well, I honestly think 18, Newcastle being the 19, Premier League clubs are hoping that this deal doesn't go through, not because of the football and Isak going there to strength for Liverpool, but more the point of saying, right, the clubs are now taking the strength back, and it's no longer the player have all the power. Because ultimately, the way it's going at the moment, it looks more and more like it's just the players' game, and the clubs are going with it.
Get lost.
OK, right, fair to say some Newcastle fans want Isak to get out. We are going to be live to Newcastle in a little bit, and our chief correspondent, Kaveh Solhekol, joins us as well for this chat. Jimmy, we talk about transfer sagas. This one is incredible so far. How do you feel about the way that Isak has handled this?
Oof. He's very emotional about it. He's hurt. Let's not forget, I think at this moment of time, out and out, he's the best striker in the Premier League. So Newcastle is going to want to keep him. Apparently, he's been promised something, and he feels that he's not been treated right. There are ways, you know, you handle it. He's going this way. Would I have done the same? Maybe not. No, my situation was a little bit different with Leeds. I wanted to stay. He wants to go. But then on the other hand, you know, you have players at other clubs that clubs don't want and have to train by themselves or with another group. So it's one of those things. It's a difficult situation. It's a very hard situation to say, look, you should do it in a different way. Everybody feels it in a different way. I feel sorry for the fans of Newcastle. You know, his teammates, they will understand, because football is really a selfish world. Yeah, so when you're playing together, no, you're part of the team. But when you're doing your contract, it's a selfish world. You have to think about you. So the players, they will understand. I feel sorry for the fans. That's more the issue here.
You mentioned your situation at Leeds, and this is different. You say, in a sense, you never trained away from your teammates. Like you say, you wanted to stay at Leeds, but there are some parallels as well. You know, you go from the cult hero to your fans saying that you're greedy. That must be really difficult for you. You must know how Isak is feeling at the moment.
Yeah, look, I don't know his motives, but my motive was I wanted to sign for Leeds. We didn't agree on a contract. I had 2 years left. I said, okay, then I'll stay and play for the same contract that I have. They didn't want me to stay, because obviously then my value goes down, because then I would have 1 year left. And I said, okay, well, I only sign if you give me X. and this in my contract. We couldn't get an agreement. And other clubs came in for me, and I was willing to go to another club. But then they played it really well in the public, you know, and made me look like I was the greedy one, or I wanted to go, and it was all my fault. And there was a period that I couldn't walk over the street by myself. You know, it was in my car training, in my car back home. I had people in front of my house. So yeah, that part is not nice. But as what we were saying before, there is always a little bit of drama in a whole career, and that was my drama. It wasn't nice. But you get stronger and you move on. And luckily I went to a magnificent club and did well and came back to England and did even better. So end of the day, they missed out.
There's a lot of detail about your transfer in the Transfer 360 programme and interview that you did. Let's just hear a little bit of it now.
I was frustrated from a number of points of view, the first of which is we had found him, he'd only been there a couple of years. Whilst I could have some flexibility in what we could offer, the number that was put before me was 50% more than our highest paid player at the time. So whilst I suggested to his agent that we might be able to do something, we certainly couldn't match those numbers.
Things were not right at Leeds. I wanted to sign for Leeds again. They didn't offer me the right contract. David O'Leary was the manager. I don't think that he really fancied me. He had a different picture, different future for Leeds.
Leeds sold Jimmy because Jimmy wanted to leave. End of story. I'd argue that point with him any day of the week.
Is that right? Did you want to leave?
No, I wanted to sign a new contract. I didn't want to go. I wanted to sign a new contract, and we put the offer down to Leeds. He's saying two things. We found Jimmy, yeah? So what does he mean with that? So because you found me, does that mean you own me? Yeah? So I have no say. Secondly, we offered him, he wanted 50% more than the highest paid player. What did the highest paid player have? Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, so you can make it look or make it sound really beautiful. Oh, that is so much, but we don't know what the highest paid player was on. You understand? So
even after all these years, it's still controversial. There's still different points of view, different stories.
No, but the beautiful thing about it is Peter Risdale is telling the truth. Yeah? If you listen to David's story, it's not the same as Peter Risdale.
With the situation with Alexander Isak and Johan Wissa, in your situation, you were still training.
Yeah.
You were still willing to play. Now, yeah. I've heard you sort of defend Alexander Isak a little bit, but surely Newcastle fans are going to be saying, this is a guy who's not training. He's still got 3 years left on his contract.
Yeah.
How can you be a professional footballer and sign a contract and not train and not want to play for your side? And surely that's indefensible.
And that's the part that I don't agree with. You know, you still have got a contract. Yes, you can still say my time is up here, but you still have to go and train and be with the group and participate. I think that part is wrong. You know, going to Spain, to Sociedad, and train by yourself. I don't agree with that. But then, on the other hand, I don't know what the boy has been promised, because what he's showing is not really in his history. Apparently he's a lovely boy to deal with. So he's been advised to do something. I think it's the wrong way to go about it.
But you've been in football a long time. Are there promises in football? If a chairman promised you something, would you believe him? Surely you'd say, I want this in writing. You need to talk to my agent, and we need to have this in writing. Or is in football, is people's words still worth something?
It should be. It should be. You're dealing with human beings, so why not? Why does it have to be such a bad world?
You come into a grey area where Newcastle say, we didn't promise him anything.
Yeah, you're coming in your grey area. But why would you do that to your best player? Why? Why would you say that to your best player and he goes out there and perform how he has performed last year and got you into the Champions League and then say what you're saying now?
But then why, as a player, if you've got 3 years left on your contract and you play for a club as big as Newcastle United, you've got into the Champions League, you've won a trophy, why would you refuse to play for them? When you know what the reaction is going to be from those supporters.
Yeah, and obviously he doesn't care.
Even if he gets his move to Liverpool, will it have been worth it doing it this way?
Well, apparently yes, because he's a Liverpool fan. He wants to go to Liverpool. He's not training. So all his actions are showing that he wants to do whatever it takes to get to Liverpool. You know, rightly or wrongly. Yeah, we agree with it or not. He wants to go to Liverpool. And he's saying the only club that I'm going is that one.
At the same time, Johan Wissa only wants to go to Newcastle United. You saw yesterday he'd deleted all mention of Brentford from his social media. Obviously, in your playing days, there was no social media. What did you make of that? Do you think that's any point doing something like that?
He's making a statement, isn't he?
He's making a statement, exactly. But Newcastle is willing to take Wissa. Yeah? And Wissa is doing exactly the same what Isak is doing.
But I think Wissa is training, and he's turning up to the training
now.
He's turning up to the training ground.
He's training now. He didn't used to train. He refused to play.
I think his representatives would say that he's always made himself available to play, and he's behaved himself, because if he hadn't behaved himself, then Brentford would have fined him, and they haven't done that. So all he's doing is just saying, look, I was promised that I would be able to go to Newcastle, and you are not.
Did he play this Saturday?
No.
Was he available to play this Saturday? Was he on the bench this Saturday? Did the new manager have the opportunity to play one of his best players this Saturday? No. So he might be training now, but he is doing more or less the same as Isak is doing. And Newcastle is willing to take Wissa. So, hey.
You're saying it's football. That's just the way it works.
It's hard to say. I don't like it. Yeah? But this is now what is happening.
Well, with this Isak saga rumbling on, it's Newcastle against Liverpool on the Monday Night Football. This is going to be fascinating on and off the field. The coverage begins from 6:30 on Sky Sports Premier League.